Hello, children, and welcome to our weekly look at the bloody tales of vengeance and treason that parents used to tell their children hundreds of years ago. This week, you're in for a special treat, because I'm about to tell you a tale that is so wretched and foul that not even DreamWorks has dared to make an animated feature about it. Once upon a fucked up time, there was an average-looking girl named Biancabella, who on her 10th birthday discovered that she had a magical snake for a sister. Snake Sister, displeased with how basic Biancabella looked, granted her the gift of a face so beautiful that it would rival that of any princess known to man. A gift of beauty that her father quickly took advantage of in order to marry Biancabella to the richest and most powerful man of the land, the king himself. But Biancabella is only 10 years old and in no position to marry anyone, much less a man who triples her age, said absolutely nobody ever in this story. And thus, the king married the 10-year-old girl and took her to his castle, where she would be able to see both the wonders of her new domain and the terror that was the king's family. You see, my children, for all the dragons, demons, hungry wolves, and evil spirits we will encounter in our weekly tales, none of them can hold a candle to a mother-in-law who hates your guts. Now granted, this was technically the king's stepmother, and her hatred toward Biancabella had more to do with power than it did with love towards her stepson. For it was her plan to marry the king with one of her own daughters in order to better control the kingdom herself. However, this plan was foiled due to the fact that the king would rather marry a 10-year-old girl than one of his stepmother's ugly-ass daughters. The problem for Biancabella was that the day came when the king had to leave the castle for an extended period of time in order to defend his domain from an impending attack, thus leaving his newly found wife in the care of his evil bitch stepmother. "You shall take her out into the woods and kill her, and don't come back without evidence that you have done so," ordered the worst mother-in-law ever to her lackeys. Luckily for Biancabella, her beauty and grace were so that not only men wise and powerful like the king were immediately infatuated with her, but also the low-life contract killers couldn't resist her charm and looks either. However, the would-be assassin still had the unholy conundrum of having to prove to the evil queen mother that Biancabella had indeed been murdered. For if no evidence of this wicked deed was presented to her, then for sure their own lives were at risk. This in mind, the would-be assassins came to the only logical compromise their medieval minds could think of. And so, they plucked out Biancabella's eyes and chopped off her hands and left her stranded in the woods. When the king finally returns to his chambers one night, he realizes that one of his ugly-ass stepsisters has taken the place of his wife in his bed. When he's informed of his bride's alleged demise, he is consumed by sorrow, for where will a king find another beautiful 10-year-old girl to marry? Meanwhile, Biancabella is also consumed by grief as she stands alone in the middle of the wilderness contemplating ending her own life, which is easier said than done when you don't have either your hands or your eyes. But it is in that moment when her magical snake sister reappears unto her and restores the young lady to her pre-mutilated glory with the help of magic and science. Armed with a fresh pair of hands and eyes and her miraculous snake sister, Biancabella races back to her former kingdom, where she calls out her evil mother-in-law and tells her king everything that had happened. The king, appalled by the wicked and unwarranted violence of his stepmother's acts, responds in the only way he knew was just and fair, by hurtling his stepmother into a hot furnace, and both of her ugly-ass daughters too. And so, the king and his 10-year-old queen lived happily ever after, in the pages of an obscure fairy tale book that will never, ever be made into a movie for children.